There's a number that changes how you sleep at night. It's not zero. Zero is scary, but you can still function at zero. This number is different. It's negative $10,000, and once your debt crosses it, something shifts quietly in how your brain handles money for the rest of your life. Have you ever checked your bank app at 2 in the morning, not because you needed to, but because you couldn't stop yourself? Welcome back to Capital Science. Today, we're breaking down the negative $10,000 rule. Not a rule anyone taught you in school. A rule your nervous system teaches you, whether you want it to or not. Let's start with what debt actually feels like at different stages, because it's not linear. It's not like every $1,000 hurts the same amount. At negative $500, most people barely notice. It feels like a rounding error, a slightly annoying credit card balance you'll deal with next paycheck. At negative $2,000, it starts to nag. You think about it sometimes, usually right before you fall asleep. But at negative $10,000, something different happens. This is the number where debt stops being a number and starts being an identity. Why 10,000 specifically? Because it's the point where the math stops making sense to your gut, even if it still makes sense on paper. Below that number, you can tell yourself a story. I'll pay this off in a month or two. It's fine. Above it, that story stops working. You do the math, and the timeline stretches out past what feels bearable. 6 months. A year. Longer. And here's the part almost nobody talks about. It's not the debt itself that changes you. It's the moment you realize you can't out-earn your way out of it quickly. That's the moment the fear sets in. Have you ever felt that specific kind of tired? The kind where you're not sleepy? You're just worn down from thinking about money constantly? That's not weakness. That's your brain doing exactly what it's designed to do. Financial stress activates the same threat systems as physical danger. Your body doesn't know the difference between being chased by something dangerous and owing a credit card company $10,000. It just knows. Threat, stay alert, don't relax. So what actually happens once you cross this line? First, decision fatigue sets in. Every purchase becomes a tiny negotiation with yourself. Coffee, groceries, a birthday gift for a friend. Each one gets weighed against the debt, even the $4 ones. That constant, low-grade calculating is exhausting, and it's why people in debt often make worse financial decisions, not because they're bad with money, but because they're mentally depleted from thinking about money all day. Second, avoidance kicks in. This is the one nobody admits out loud. People stop opening the banking app. They stop checking the balance. Not because they don't care, but because looking at it makes the fear worse, and avoiding it for a few hours feels like relief. Have you ever left a notification unread just so you didn't have to deal with what it says? Debt does that to your whole financial life. And the cruel irony is, avoidance makes the debt grow. Late fees, missed payments, interest compounding quietly in the background while you're not looking. Third, and this is the part that surprises people, once you cross negative 10,000, spending behavior often gets worse, not better. This sounds backwards, but it's well documented. When people feel like they're already failing at something, a phenomenon researchers call the "what the hell" effect, they tend to give up on moderation entirely. If you've already blown the budget, why not just blow it further? It's the same thing that happens when someone breaks a diet. One slice of pizza turns into the whole pizza because the goal already feels unreachable. So if you're sitting there thinking, I've done this, I've felt this, you're not broken, and you're not bad with money. You're having a completely normal human response to a threat your brain doesn't know how to file anywhere else. Now here's where it gets useful, because understanding the psychology is only half the story. The other half is knowing how to actually interrupt this cycle. The first shift isn't about the money at all, it's about visibility. People who successfully climb out of this hole almost always do one thing first. They stop avoiding the number. They look at it, write it down, and let it be real instead of a vague dread sitting in the back of their mind. That single act, just seeing it clearly, breaks the avoidance loop that keeps debt growing quietly. The second shift is breaking the debt into pieces that don't trigger the "what the hell" effect. $10,000 feels impossible. $500 feels doable. The people who make progress aren't the ones with the most willpower. They're the ones who made the number small enough that their brain stopped treating it like a threat. And the third shift, the one almost nobody talks about, telling someone. Debt shame thrives in silence. The moment you say the number out loud to one person you trust, it usually gets smaller in your head, even though the number on paper hasn't changed at all. Have you ever noticed how a problem feels lighter the second you say it out loud to someone? That's not a coincidence. That's your brain recategorizing the threat from something you're facing alone to something you're facing with support. And that shift alone changes how sustainable your recovery actually is. So here's the real lesson behind the negative $10,000 rule. Debt isn't just a math problem. It's a psychological one. And the moment you treat it like only a math problem, you miss why so many smart, capable people stay stuck in it for years. The number doesn't define you. But understanding what it does to your brain, that might be the thing that finally gets you out. If this hit close to home, you're not alone. And I mean that. Drop a comment if you've ever felt that exact 2 a.m. bank app moment. I read every single one. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel so you don't miss the next breakdown.